Yes, I'm Andrew Ledford, and this is my end of the year video. I usually do these. It's kind of customary. You may have seen my last It's Coffee Time with Andrew. That was the 100th episode. I'm going to start doing a new type of series, I believe, and I hope these are a little bit more helpful for people. So for a couple years, I have been, I do an end of year goal setting. Last year, I did it a little bit differently. It had more a direction I was going and not so much finite goals, not like SMART goals, which were developed for business more than anything, not so much for personal development. And now I'm starting to look at having a focus and then doing sequential goals. And some of those can be SMART goals, but we're going to be looking at how we have finite goals. Those can be SMART goals, but then there are also procedural goals. And these can be sequential goals, but they are infinite goals, things that never really have an end. There's not a start date and an end date. Where SMART goals, finite goals, have a beginning and an end. So this is the end of 2024. In a day or so, we're going to be at 2025, the new year. And if you've seen my last episode, you'll see that I've accomplished many of the goals I had set out for last year. So I did it a little bit in an unusual manner. I had the focus for the first half of the year, and then the second half of the year, starting June 21st, I had more finite goals that I established at that time. This may be an interesting way of scheduling your year as we go forward, and it would also help prevent people from making New Year's resolutions and then abandoning them because you're moving in a direction. So if you have a little lapse, a little setback, you can just pick up where you left off and no big deal. That is going to do it for this little segment. Well, this is New Year's Eve, and wanted to go over a little bit about how I'm starting to do my new planning. And I believe on the introduction to this video, I was talking about how I'm no longer setting finite goals at the beginning of the year. I'm now moving more in a direction. And it's not just one direction, but there's like multiple thrusts into several different areas. I think we can equate this somewhat to the plan, do, study, act cycle. I think that's the Deming cycle. And what I have been doing for the last day or two is actually planning things I want to do next year. Not so much setting goals as to when I'm going to do them. So we're going to put some thought into this and plan. I actually have them in a hierarchy. And then we will start doing them. And the whole idea is to see if, which ones work the best. And if there are certain core directions I'm moving, and what I want to do is find the best way to get there. So it's more a overall mission that I'm going towards, not so much an individual goal, although that is made up of many sequential individual goals. As I said, starting to look at goal setting much, much different than I have in the past. We could also equate this to John Boyd's principle, which is similar, oftentimes sounds very similar to the Deming cycle, although it's done a little bit differently. This is first you observe your world. And this is kind of what I'm doing. I'm observing where I'm at now, where I want to be, and the social climate the economic climate that I'm operating in. And then you orient. And this is where you bring all your skills, your life experiences, new knowledge to the table. So it's observe, orient, then you decide what you're going to do. So this is that planning stage. I'm deciding what I'm going to do. And in the process, I am exploring different options. And then you act. All these get into that final stage of acting. The Deming cycle: do, study, plan, do, study, act. Study what works, what doesn't work. The Boyd cycle: observe, orient, decide, and then act. So this is the process I'm working on right now. I have a rough plan for the beginning of the year, and so far it seems to correlate with reality. That was one of Boyd's things. Is there a mismatch? Do your plans, do your observations of the world match up with the way you think it should be? And if they don't, then you need to go back and reevaluate and perhaps change what you do or how you do it. So this is the goal setting right now, the new goal setting template. But there's something else I wanted to mention, and that's this year I have been running a very big experiment on verbal behavior, and shall continue doing this into next year. In fact, it's going to change to the next stage, the next level. And this is very interesting. You know, a couple years ago I was working at developing a public speaking presentation and a strategy for that. Well, it's hard to find venues, so I kind of put that on the back burner. I'm hoping to move it to the front burner this year, and I have been working on that. In fact, that's one of the thrusts, one of the directions I'm taking with the goal setting or goal direction that I'm doing this year, is to develop a new verbal behavior project that is going to focus on a couple different areas. One that I have been working on for the last 12 months or so, and the other is this public speaking presentation. It's going to be fairly novel, and I'm sure that it will give me a lot of things to write about as I go through the year. Already this last year, the work I've done with my public speaking experiment, or not public speaking, but verbal behavior experiment, I already plan on incorporating that into probably the next book, or the one down the line a ways, next book I write. And also perhaps into a training program I'm putting together. One of the things I would like to do this next year is a how to change your life through dog training program. If any of you are interested, let me know. I'm just taking, let's say, reservations right now. If it becomes popular, I'm not going to be able to work with a lot of people, especially in the beginning. But it is something that I've thought about for many, many years. And if you've read any of my books, you'll know that's kind of the direction I always go. I think that's going to do it for this New Year's talk. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next year, someplace out in the community. You see me out there, just come on up and say hi. I think that's going to do it. As always, I am wishing you the very best in life. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.